ready.
Yes,
Are you ready?
I'm coming, Mother. How is everybody? Are you alive? I can't hear you. All right, open up the doors and let everybody in. I have to say, everybody left also, but you're all here, every one of you. And if you don't understand that, that means you're going to outlast every one of those dogs. And I want to say, stop dealing with the dogs and the cats and the rats and start dealing with the people. Am I right or wrong? Wait a minute. Am I right or wrong? Bob, I'll get you for that. You know, I gotta say a few words about Steve Kramer, about Stan Israel, about Inez Murphy, about Nora Rivera, about George Gresham, Stan Israel, I said already, Frank Barbaro, my pal, and everybody else. But those people especially have stood up. I'll say their names again: Kramer, Murphy, Perez, I didn't even say him, Nora Rivera, Gresham, Stan Israel, etc., etc. It took a lot of guts for 1199 to stand up to all the bullshit that has been going on leading up to this meeting. Keep that in mind. That 1199 took all the pressure and stood up and came back. They could do better, as I've told them many, many times. They could do better. Am I right or wrong? You know, you're half dead. Well, wake up. I think we should have never given you the food. That was the biggest mistake we ever made. Take back the food, take back the places and all. But I want to talk about organizing. I want to talk about, if we're going to close the doors now, close the doors. Too much darn noise there. I want to talk about a dead organizer that runs around and does everything. He does everything for the workers. He even ties their shoes. He does the contract. He does the grievance. He does the agitation. He does the picketing. And he's full of it. And he's full of it. He's not a leader. Think what I'm saying. Think, and you all say, oh, he's the great leader. He's full of it. It's a terror. He's doing for workers. Then it's not the workers' union. Am I right or wrong? Guess you've got to understand this. We all think these great organizers, great officers, etc., are great leaders. Politicians, great leaders. No, they're only great when they build. When they build and keep on building. Am I right or wrong? A politician cannot do on his own. His job is to mobilize every single person in his district, in his assembly, in his country, and that's when we're going to win. That's when we're going to win. Stop doing for workers. It's about time that we tried to understand that workers have to be built. An organizer that builds. Can you hear me, by the way? Yeah. You sound like you're half dead, but when an organizer walks in and does a grievance, he is doing a misgrievance. When an organizer talks to the boss off the record and solves the problem, he just castrated, he just killed people because he's not building them. He's not building them. I'll give you two stories real quick. In 1939, those creeps in the Congress were saying, why don't you control the United Auto Workers on the shop floor? And everybody looked at it. And the union leaders And some of the congressmen said, no, that floor is owned by the workers. That floor, that shop floor, that nursing floor, any floor, that clerical floor, etc., etc. If it's owned by the workers, nobody can defeat the workers. When there was a sleep-in 1937, who the hell slept in? It was the workers, am I right or wrong? And it was their victory. It was their victory. When you create, and by the way, if you don't memorize, where is it? Where is that organ? Ah, here it is. Here it is. If you don't memorize this, first of all, Bob will beat the hell out of you. But whatever it is, if you don't memorize this, you don't understand how to organize. I'm not going to be nice. I'm not going to be so pleasant. I'm not going to say to you that this is the only way. It is the only way. That if you don't build workers, and I'll give you an example. We were looking for money in 1199. The boss owed us $700,000. $700,000 at that time. In 1988, a lot of money. Millions today. And he owed it to us. And the workers were going to lose their benefits. Now, a good organizer would start to cry for him, for the workers. Oh my God, I feel so sorry. No. So the workers started to demonstrate. First the shop steward, then half the workers, then all the workers. And the next day we're walking out on the streets, a wildcat. And all of a sudden, the honcho in the union, this fatso here, gets a call from the boss. Mr. K, we love you, and this and that, and we want to settle, but I never took that call. Then I called up the executive vice president, and the vice president, and the organizer, and I said, if you take that call, it might be the death of you, but I guarantee you, it will be the death of you. So now we took the call, and we went the next day, all of us, into the boss's surrounding. Could be his office, that's for sure. We were too big. We were 1,000 workers. Nobody working. And out comes the check. And this boss comes running up there. Here's the check. And I turned my back on him. I liked the check, but I said no. And I warned every officer in that room, you touch that check, it's your last touch. And I meant it, and they know I'm crazy, so that was it. And he finally gave the check to some of the workers. And those workers looked at that check and said, this is our check.
That's right.
This is our check. And then they also said something beautiful. This is our union. It was the workers' union. They took that check because they fought for that check. They outthought the boss. They outfought the boss. And not some fat union organizer coming around, or skinny, and telling them, I'll do it for you. They did it themselves. It was their union, it was their victory, and they never lost the union again after that. They were in control of their union. Am I right or wrong? I can't hear you. Came out of the hospital. I had a heart operation. I'm going back in for another operation. But I got on the table, the OR, with the 3 surgeons, so you can sit down there. You know, you're lazy, so you can sit down there. And I got on that OR table, and I start telling the Surgeon, I want it done this way, and take the heart out this way, and move the liver that way, and don't forget to allow me to pee with my kidneys and all that stuff. They thought I was nuts. But let me tell you something. Both my main doctors, the cardiologist and the oncologist, came here tonight, and it gave me a thrill because I taught them how to do the operation. I said, to the left, to the right, down it, move it, I'm in pain, stop it, etc., etc. And let me tell you something. At the end, they hated me, but wow. And what else? But they came here, Dr. Mario Garcia from Montefiore, head cardiologist there, and this genius, Anna Pavlik, from the oncology department at NYU. Both of them the tops in their field. In fact, Anna Pavlik did and helped the people that handled President Carter. So I'm in good hands. They sometimes want to shoot me for opening my trap, but you know, what the hell am I going to do? I'm on this TAVR that they put in. I didn't like it the way it went in on the left side. I said, move it a little bit, and they moved it a little bit. And, you know, you got to speak up, even if you're under. All right. I want to, see, I'm going to do something because we all want to go home. You don't want to go home, you nuts. But I do want to say something about Bill Lynch. You know, I organized his family in the 1960s out in Southold and Greenport. And the year before I went out there, they slit the throat in Greenport of a young black person, boy practically, 17-year-old, because he was going with a white woman. Girl. I still remember it. It is something that goes back, how many years only? 50 years. It's close. That's right. And if you go down south, you better keep your chin down because they'll slit your throat also just as well. And sometimes in the wrong places, up north. We cannot be a phony and say, oh, $12 minimum is good. What the hell's wrong with $15 minimum? Am I right or wrong on that? Oh, let's improve Obamacare. What the hell's wrong with Medicare for all? On Social Security, oh, let me keep my Social Security, I'll go on my knees. What the hell? If we tax everybody, like I pay my Social Security, every rich person pays the full amount on his salary, we would have Social Security for the next 357 years. And I counted those years. Before I forget, there's one person in this room that I would not be here without. My partner, Vladimir Fortune. Stand up, Vladimir, stand up. I do want to tell you about the mayor and his wife. We used to go to these senior citizen homes. Not the mayor, he was too important, but Charlene and I go there. And she, and very quietly, she'd convince everybody. And then all of a sudden, she's standing there with her back to me, and I let out one of those roars. Wake up! She dropped every single piece of paper she had. Half the old geezers nearly had a cardiac arrest. I was older than 3/4 of those old geezers, but scared them to death. And every one of them signed for Bill de Blasio under threat of law and under threat of death. But Charlene and I immediately clicked with her quiet, determined, brilliant style, and of course with my loud mouth. But Bill de Blasio, I have to tell the truth, it's terrible. He eats like a pig. It's unbelievable how much he eats. We went out to the Sikh temple, and they were giving us the food by the pail, you know, the payloads and payloads of food. And that son of a gun is eating a whole pail. I looked at him, I said, what are you, impossible or what, a garbage bill? I can't understand it. And of course he gave me that smile and knowing all and this and that. And by that time we were winning a little bit to a lot. But I have to tell you the truth, the guy eats like an animal. But I don't want to spread it. I don't want it outside of this room. This is off the record. But I want to end up very quickly. I'm going to give you a reprieve very quickly. And thank you so much for remaining.
We love you, Eddie.
I gave him $50 to do that. It's well worth it. In fact, I'll give him $1 if he opens his trap once more. All right.
We love you, Eddie!
That is aberration. You know, I had the privilege of opposing about 15 unions leadership. I had that distinct honor to be called by the rank and filers, APW, in your union, DC 1707. 1707, I can't hear you. And I had that possibility and distinctness in Local 78 of Liuna, in Local 768 in DC 37, and 10 more places, even the News Guild, etc., with all those very suit-wearing New York Times, card-carrying unions. And all of them, and this gave me a privilege, of coming to them and saying, our leadership stinks. Our leadership is doing nothing. Our leadership is, I said, so what do you want from me? And then they began to think, and I kept on telling them, move your behind, organize, bring me people, don't bring me complaints. I'm not doing nothing for you except to try to organize you. If you cannot move the workers, good night and goodbye. And in the APU, we used to be out there 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 1 a.m., etc., etc. We also went out there during normal hours. Whatever it is. It was, and I taught them, and the only thing I did accomplish is I taught them to take the problem, organize a committee, meet with every worker, get their names, get their phone numbers, get this, get that. In other words, build their confidence until they give you their name and their phone number, and we start to deal with them on a one-on-one basis, and then on 1-on-10 and a 1-on-50 until you're taking over the union. If you don't take over the union, you deserve lousy leadership. Am I right or wrong? I can't hear you. All right, stand up, everybody. You're all lazy. Stand up. Stand, Benny, get up. I'm going to leave you with this, and it's just what I told you. If you believe in yourselves, then move other people. If you don't believe in yourself, give up. Give up. But I ain't giving up. Are you giving up?